Hey guys, this is IX with Rollout Reviews, bringing you another B-Daman review. This time it is Battle B-Daman Helio Breaker. Now, I will point out that this is the US version of Helio Breaker. I don't have the box, but the US version of Helio Breaker here is a lot different than the Japanese version, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But this is the starter set, not the direct hit battle set, so it just comes with one battle pin and the B-Daman itself, as well as a single beat-a-ball. And there you go. This is what you get. It's a model kit, so when you get this, it comes on sprues and you build it. It does come with stickers, but I don't put these stickers on my B-Daman. They're just a little too much work for me. I'm a little lazy, but also they peel, and on some of these models, not saying exactly this one, they don't actually look that great. But let's take a look at this guy. He's got some really, really nice details. I love the vents and the joint here. Very cool looking. Lots of details that they really didn't need to add. I mean, it's a marble shooting toy, but I mean, you got these vents here, and if you look in there, you got some circle-y bits. You even got treads down here, which I think is kind of funny. You got the hooves. He's a bull, obviously, with the big horns. These are rubber. I don't know if they were rubber on the Japanese version, but they're actually a pretty hard rubber, so that's kind of cool. They do have a tendency on a lot of people's of coming out. That's a huge complaint that a lot of people have. The horns don't stay in, but mine actually stay in really, really well. So I don't know if I'm lucky or everyone else is just really unlucky, but there's that. Now, most of the B-Daman had eyes. Helio Breaker had a visor, and you can see that. There's some gaps up in there, but if you don't look too hard, you don't see them. Now, most B-Daman just have these, normal little arms, whereas Helio Breaker has these big, hulking arms. Now, in the show, Helio Breaker was a power type, and the box claims that Helio Breaker is a power type. Incredibly powerful. In the show, he is the most powerful B-Daman of the whole lot. And I strongly believe that the Japanese toy was probably a very, very powerful B-Daman. The US version is not quite that. I assume that Hasbro, when they took the rights from Bandai or Takara, decided that Helio Breaker was a little too powerful. So they toned him down a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. Because this is not a power type whatsoever. He's got these arms here. Now you can see in there, they've got these little bits that protrude that line up with the clip that is the firing mechanism here. Now, the original Helio Breaker, the little protrusions on the side of the clamp here extended further than a normal B-Daman. This is just a normal Zero System B-Daman's clip here. But like I said, the Japanese version, these extended a little bit so that the arms actually hindered them a bit. This made the B-Daman incredibly powerful. It had less room for the beat-a-ball to go through, so it increased the friction and made it incredibly powerful. This B-Daman, however, let's get this out here. While it does shoot, like a normal B-Daman, it's no power type at all. So there is that. Now, how you're supposed to hold this is very nifty. It's very convenient. I like the way you hold it. Usually you'd hold a B-Daman like this. Well, the horns are in the way. You can't really do that. It's got these little bits on the side, this stabilization unit. This is a very solid B-Daman. One thing I want to point out is that on normal Zero System B-Daman, the arms and legs move. With Helio Breaker here, it's all locked in place. I really like that. That's something I like about Crossfight B-Daman, is that the legs and arms don't move anymore. But, and you hold this guy as you put your fingers here, and fingers here, and you hold him like that. It's a very cool way to hold it, a very comfortable way to hold it. Anyway, I see this guy as more of a control type, more of a, and maybe even rapid fire type. And I'll get to that in a second. Why? Now, first, you got this buckle up here, and this kind of condenses the area of which, where the beat-a-ball can travel. That makes it a little more accurate. Now, control type, why I say that, is because you can hold this an alternative way. This is the way you're supposed to hold it. But the way I like to hold this is like this. Now, there are control type B-Daman that have a wing section back here, or a section back here that advertises that you can hold it with one hand. But it's usually attached to the buckle here. So you hold it like this, and it advertises that you can load the B-Daman while you shoot. And that's fine and dandy, but when your hand is in the way here, you have to kind of shove the beat-a-ball in like that. And that is incredibly awkward. Helio Breaker kind of exceeds in this gimmick because you can hold it down like this with one hand so low that you have all the room in the world to load it here, which is awesome. Also, that fires really well. That is comfortable. There's just enough room for your fingers to sit in there, and you can just keep loading and firing and loading and firing and loading and firing and loading and firing. I probably wouldn't try this with the Japanese version just because it is very much a power type, and power types really don't work well with rapid fire capabilities. But that is about it. Helio Breaker. A total fluke on advertising part. They didn't even change the packaging. They just said, oh, yeah, he's a power type, and left it at that. But he's very not. If you want to buy this guy thinking he's a power type, don't. Because he's just not. That said, he is something so much more than just simply a power type. I love the way you can just launch him with one hand like this. It's fantastic. This is one of my favorite beat-em-on just because, one, he's so solid. This guy is rock solid. Second, that capability. That is fantastic. So, that is about it, guys, and this is IX Roll at IX, signing off.